All right. Hey, everyone. So today we're going to be going over our Google Ads training for 2024. And you'll notice in the list, in the way that we've presented this 2024 planning presentation, we're going in order of priority. So the first videos, we talked about understanding the psychology of how med spa customers make purchase decisions, understanding concepts around discounting, measurement of your efforts and ROI calculations. Then we went into Facebook and Instagram ads, how to automate the follow-up with leads once you start getting a bunch of leads coming in. And then the second thing we're going to talk about here in terms of priority list is generally Google Ads. And Google Ads is another direct response marketing platform, as you probably know, where you're going to spend money and you're going to see leads in action very, very quickly. So that's the reason that it's something we like to put toward the top of the priority list. But in terms of order of priority, it usually comes second to the Meta platform, which is Facebook and Instagram, because I would say 80 to 90% of the time, we just see lower cost of acquisition costs on Facebook and Instagram, better overall result. And it's just the model. You have such an arbitrage opportunity with Facebook and Instagram right now because the cost to reach people is so cheap, where you can get leads on Facebook and Instagram for $5 to $10. It might cost you $5 to $10 just for a single click to your landing page. So we're going to talk about the trade-offs here of when we would choose Google versus Meta. Most of the time, the answer is going to be both, because you're going to have certain people that you're going to reach because they're going to be scrolling past your ad on Facebook and Instagram, and you definitely want to be in the game capturing lead traffic for the people that are actively searching for the services that you have to offer, right? You want to be in both of those places. So even if on Facebook and Instagram, let's say for every dollar you spend, just to simplify things, let's say for every dollar you spend, you have like a 6x return on investment from Facebook and Instagram, and it's a 4x return on investment on Google Ads. Those are still places you want to be spending money because they're both producing a significant return on investment. So go back to the knowing your numbers parts of the earlier parts of these presentations. But to simplify the Google or Meta, when we're trying to think about a specific service, where do we decide to spend the money for a specific service? Here's just some general guidelines. So if it's a service people are actively searching for, it's probably got good potential to be a Google ad. So if you've got some new laser no one's ever heard of, but you think it does an amazing job of XYZ thing, or skin rejuvenation or tightening or refinishing, those things are all fine, but people aren't actively searching for that laser by name. So you'd have to kind of play this bait and switch game where you'd have somebody maybe searching generically for like skin tightening, like services that help with skin tightening, and then hopefully kind of convincing them that your product is a good fit. That's a much tougher sell. So with Google Ads, I really only like focusing on things that are bottom of the funnel direct response. So people looking for laser hair removal near me, hair transplants, facials, things like that. So we want things that people are actively searching for by name. Need to be no issues related or restrictions related to policies with Google Ads. So there are a lot of services in the aesthetics industry that you're going to run into issues on both platforms. So I linked the policies in this presentation, but if you just Google search Google Ads health and advertising policies, you'll see a whole list of things. Like for Botox, for example, you have to get online pharmaceutical designation and Allergan trademark approval. Now we've got contacts that we can help do that. You contact Allergan, somebody I'm sure will help you work through that, but it takes several weeks, maybe even several months to get that approval. You've got certain words that that Google just doesn't like PRP, for example. If it's on your landing page or in your ad anywhere, those ads are getting flagged. So for those reasons, be up to date on the policies. You're going to want to advertise only things that you're allowed to in terms of the policies. If it's a very niche service, also a good probably place to spend money would be Google Ads. So a couple examples, So if I'm advertising something like Botox, any women over the age of 40 are probably candidates, even younger, candidates potentially for Botox. They're noticing a little bit extra creasing here, wrinkles around the eyes. So we know that's a service that has broad appeal, right? Laser hair removal. Everyone has body hair. If you're females, most females don't want to deal with body hair. They're willing to pay for laser hair removal or consider it. So those are broad appeal services that work really well on Facebook and Instagram. They can also work really well on Google. But for Google specifically, if they're a niche service that people, only like a smaller segment of the market is actually going to be interested in, Google Ads is probably a good place to look first. So things like hair transplants. It's a high ticket service. People have to be having the issue related to hair thinning, and they also like want to spend the money and don't care about a more niche audience. Spider vein treatments, like that's a pretty niche service, right? You want the people that are searching for spider vein treatments to find your ad, see what you have to offer, but that might not have as much general appeal with a large audience on Facebook and Instagram. So still, most of these things, the answer is both. And usually it's Facebook and or Google. There's not many times that we do Google, but not anything on Facebook. So just some general guidelines on when we want to look at Google Ads as maybe the first option for our ad dollars. The other thing we want to understand is the context of how our ads are displayed. So on Facebook and Instagram, when somebody sees your ad in the feed, they're not seeing it alongside 2 or 3 other competitor ads, right? They're just in that moment in time, all they're seeing is your advertisement. So if they decide to respond to that advertisement, it's because something resonated with them from that ad. The offer, the marketing message, the information about the practice, the reputation. But here with Google Ads, we have to understand the context of how these are displayed. So I just Googled laser hair removal near me as a rough example here. And they're the first two, I took a screenshot of the first 2 results that came up. We've got this Milan Laser Institute, and we've got this aesthetics.com listing. Now, this is a pretty easy decision for probably everybody. Which one are you clicking on? Probably the first one, right? Not just because it comes up first. It's got the image extension, so it stands out more. They have a specific offer they're promoting, 50% off laser hair removal. It says, check out our latest specials and get a free treatment. It lists their location, their office hours, before and afters, FAQs. And then this next one, all it says is Mount Juliet's top rated med spa laser hair removal, Mount Juliet. Most of those clicks are going to the first listing. So we have to understand the context of how our ads are displayed to try to win over the user to take that next step. So explore ways to position yourself to win in a competitive landscape. Go back to my earlier video. I talked about the 3 factors that people are weighing when they're making purchase decisions with an aesthetics business. Most local service businesses, those factors are factors related to price. So how can you differentiate based on prices? There's some competitive offer to get somebody in the door for the first time that you can promote that's putting you head and shoulders above your competition. Are you able to win on reputation? Talk about social proof, talk about reviews, talk about features, talk about results that you've obtained that are meaningful to the prospect that can potentially differentiate you and earn the trust of your prospects and your potential clients. And then convenience, make sure people know where you're located. You can't control that, but at least letting people know where you're located, the right people will be more likely to resonate and click that ad. So optimize for those 3 factors. The next thing I want to talk about is the landing page. So once you figure out what services you're promoting via the Google Ads space, kind of the basics of understanding how these ads are displayed in a search result, we want to figure out how to make our offer pages as attractive as possible. So I'm going to show you some examples of offer pages and the key checkpoints that we try to hit on those. Real quick, the key checkpoints before I show you some live examples. We want clear call to actions. So if we're running that Milan laser example, 50% off laser hair removal, what is the first step? Does somebody have to fill out their information in order to access the offer, to download the voucher? Do they just need to schedule the appointment? Like, what does that next step look like? Be really clear with what we're asking people to do. And also be really clear with what happens next. So one of my favorite strategies in a landing page environment or an ads environment is to say, hey, in order to access this offer, you need to download the virtual coupon voucher. So we're doing lead capture. I love this intermediate step. So in order to access this laser hair removal promo, we're going to need your information. We'll send you a virtual coupon. Now, even if they decide not to book the appointment, there are going to be a lot of people that want to grab that discount, that access to that discount in case they change their mind or come back later and want to book. So we get a lot more leads using that strategy. And then we say alongside that form, after you fill out this form, you'll be redirected for options to book your appointment online, right? So be very clear with what we're asking and what's going to happen next. Go in depth about the service and the offer, the benefits, expand on those things. Anything that people might be contemplating, you want to overcome any objections. So like, I really want laser hair removal, but I'm not sure what laser is actually good. There's so many different lasers. Some of them are permanent, some of them are non-permanent. They work on different skin types. Some are more expensive. What are the different options? And why is this option the best choice for me, right? Go into depth explaining the offer and the benefit and the service. Also, why us language? You want to provide tons of social proof to make people confident that not only do they want the service that you offer, but they specifically want to get it from you. And like I said, we like to capture the lead first with that framework and then book the appointment. So I'm going to show you some landing page examples, and then we're going to go into building our actual Google Ads. All right, so we went over those components, the checklist for what a good landing page would include, and I want to show you an example of that. So just a reminder, we just went through clear call to actions, clear next steps, offer and service benefits expanded, sell the practice in addition to the service. In addition to the service, why are people going to choose us, not just the service? Capture the lead and then book the appointment. So you'll notice when we create these offer specific landing pages, we don't have a menu. So there's no menu here. It's all this is one page. It's like a one-page website all about this specific service. In this case, they're doing 2 areas for the price of 1 or 25% off. It's called this lunchtime liposuction. So we talk about all the benefits of the service offering. the call to action that's riddled throughout this page. There's no promo here. Sorry, there's a promo, but the call to action is, in this case, we want them to schedule the free consult. So that's what the call to action button consists of throughout the page. And you'll notice that it's everywhere. So the call to action button's at the top section of the page. As I scroll, there it is again. I scroll to the next section, there it is again. I get to the very bottom of this page, and there's the actual form that all those call to action buttons jump to. If you didn't click one of them, by the time you get to the bottom, you're seeing the form itself. So this is really, really good. And then you'll notice how clear we are with what the next steps are going to be. Please fill out this form, and we will contact you to schedule your free awake liposuction appointment. So we're going to reach out to you to schedule this appointment. So you know what happens after you fill out this form, you're on our list. We're going to reach out to you to schedule. We also include testimonials, information on the location, why people choose this practice, information on the providers providing the services. So we're really putting a ton of stuff in here in terms of social proof. Also, before and afters, we can get away with it. Our star rating on Google, all of these little badges for places that we have involvement, and all of these things help tell a story as to why the customer, the prospect, should be interested in moving forward with exploring this service, but also why they should choose us to provide the service and to perform the service. So those are the basic checklist items that we're looking for a landing page. We use a software called Landingy to create these. So landing with an I. Any landing page builder will do this. So feel free to explore options. That's just the one that we use that we really like. You can split test different things there too. But that's the basic structure of a well-optimized ads landing page that we're trying to leverage. Okay, so here we are. This is one component. I know I try to stick to the slide deck as much as I possibly can in this presentation, but the Google Ads dashboard, just like the Facebook Ads dashboard, is like navigating its own complete ecosystem. So I figured it'd be better to actually jump in here and show you what the ads dashboard looks like. So when you get to ads.google.com and you set up your basic account, and you go to launch that first campaign, it'll walk you through some options. But at the bottom of those first options, you'll see an option to switch into what's called expert mode. And highly recommend clicking that toggle button and switching into expert mode as we build these campaigns. If you go through the initial screens, and you'll eventually get back to a screen that looks like this when you log in. And I'm going to start you from scratch here once you get back to this campaigns view of building a campaign from start to finish. So we're going to build a campaign here. We're going to go to new campaign. So we just want to campaign, click the plus sign for new campaign. Now, as a medical aesthetics business, almost all of our ads that we're running are lead ads. We're trying to capture contact information. I'm not selling something online like a product or an e-commerce thing. I don't want to just get website traffic. I want leads. And then this local store visit, like we're not like a restaurant where people just kind of walk in and out, right? People have scheduled appointments. So for all of these reasons, leads is 9 out of 10 times, if not 99 out of 100 times, going to be the action item that we're going to use. So we're going to skip conversion tracking for now. So we're selecting leads. We're going to go to continue. And for the purposes of this training, there are all these different campaign types, and I recommend exploring all of them and testing a lot of these different things like the video ads, performance max, demand gen, but we're talking about just traditional search ads, which are most of what we're doing for clients, where I would spend my money if I were a med spa, and how we help our clients invest in Google Ads. So we're just doing search. So the traditional search ads. Ways that we'd like to reach our goal would be website visits. Let's actually take the website visits off. Let's just go here with phone calls. You can do the lead forms, though this will actually pop up a lead form inside of Google Ads. So let's just click the website visitors or the website visits and phone calls. So you can enter a phone number. Now, I recommend using a tracking number for this. So if you use a software like CallRail, it's $45 a month. Strongly recommended. It can help you track a variety of your marketing initiatives. So CallRail, CALLRAIL.com. And you can set up a dedicated Google Ads tracking number. That's where I might put the Google Ads tracking number. But for the purposes of this video, just put your real phone number if you'd like. And then let's just say we're going to be doing, let's just stick to the example of laser hair. Laser hair promo. You're just naming this for your own management purposes. We're going to focus on conversions. So that's going to be whatever the conversion action we select is going to be, which is going to be form fills primarily. We're not going to set a target, so we're going to leave that blank. We're going to click next. I personally deselect the display network, and usually we'll also deselect the Google search partner. So we're just going on the Google search network. Then we get down here to locations. We're going to follow an 80-20 rule. This is really important. So I don't want to breeze by some of these things because it's all very, very important, because the most minor mistake can make a major impact in terms of performance. So we're going to go with, and this might be actually different depending on your business. So read these two descriptions, right? If I say presence or interest in, these are people who are either normally in my area or they might be searching about my area. So we've got clients in South Florida. They've got a lot of people that are back and forth, snowbirds, right? So we probably want people that are maybe coming down. They're there part of the year to still see our ads if they're searching for our services in our area. So we would click presence or interest potentially there. But if you're in an area where, hey, your market is pretty much the people that live where you are, and you don't really have like a lot of transients, like people coming in and out of town, then I would say people in or regularly in is probably a better option for most businesses here. So we're going to click the presence, people in or regularly in. And then we're going to go down here. Like if you just follow the defaults, you're setting up an ad that's going all over the world, right? So we don't want to do that. Let's pick our location. And I'm just going to set this up as if it was in downtown Nashville. So we're in the suburbs of Nashville, but let's just say we're in Nashville. All right. And the default's going to be the entire region. So Nashville metro area. I would want to see what that looked like on a map before I did that. So let's go to this advanced search, and then let's type that in again. And let's click target, and let's see where it draws it on the map. Okay, perfect example. I'm a med spa. Nashville to Clarksville, I think, is over an hour. You're almost an hour and 45 minutes, hour and a half away when you get to some of these areas here. Cookeville, this is an hour and a half basically parameter. So we do not want this option. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to say I'm in the heart of downtown. So let's just go to actual Nashville downtown area right there. So we're covering all of downtown Nashville. Now you can even get more granular than this. So in cities, sometimes you have mixed areas, right? You'll have areas that are lower income where you're not likely to pull customers, and areas that are more affluent. So be really strategic with how you draw this map. For example, in Nashville, I'm going to leave all of these because there's a mix of affluence in all of these pockets for the most part. But I also know that this area of Brentwood is only 15 minutes from downtown. A lot of people might come in here for work or just to do business or to run errands. And Brentwood's a very, very, very affluent area. So I might, in this case, add Brentwood. But just a reminder here, you want to follow the Pareto principle 80-20 rule. Where does 80% of your business realistically come from? And don't spend money advertising to the outliers. Like I might go in and make sure that I remove the edges of going into Hendersonville. This is like kind of a bad area, lower income area. It's going into a suburb that's a little bit of a hike. So that might be something that I exclude. It might depend on the service, right? If I'm doing cool sculpting and somebody's just going to come in for a few sessions, they're going to be done, they might be willing to drive into town. But for Botox, and they're coming back, every quarter for service, they might want something that's more convenient and closer. So be strategic based on the service that you're promoting. So just for example's sake, let's go ahead and continue there. We're only targeting English speakers in this case. Now, you can, in your audience targeting, toggle household income. I don't usually do it from this screen, so I'm just going to see where it shows here. This would just be audience type, so we're not going to do anything there. We're going to leave the audience segments as it is for now. And then broad match keywords, we're going to keep that off. It can work from time to time, but you're really rolling the dice when you let Google decide what things you should and shouldn't be showing your ad for. So that's going to be a really critical component of our ad build, is the way that we build our keyword list. So I'm going to click more settings here. If you're just doing something for phone calls, you might want to schedule this only to open hours. But if you're able to capture form fills, you really want these running 24 hours a day, even when your doors aren't open. I think that should pretty much be it otherwise. Let's click next. Okay, this is what's really important. So I'm just going to type in, let's actually just use, let's use the one that popped up on my example here, the Milan Laser. I'm not going to click their ad so I don't charge them anything here. But let's just click their website. And we're going to use this as our example. So I'm going to enter the URL in here to get keyword ideas. You can also enter the service name here and get keyword ideas. All right. So I'm going to curate this manually one by one. Laser hair removal, Nashville, great. Milan hair removal, that's the brand name. I don't want to pay for people in this case already searching for me by name. I'm going to remove those. We can set up a separate brand campaign, but for the purposes of our primary ads, we don't want to spend money bidding on our own name. Laser hair, too generic. Laser hair removal, fine. These are other brand name searches. We're going to delete those. Is our service permanent? Make sure it is if we're going to spend money advertising for permanent laser hair removal. And really, I'm even on the fence about these two, laser hair removal and laser hair removal. I really want the people that have a higher intent. So if I Google laser hair removal, I just might be curious what laser hair removal even is and how it works. If I Google laser hair removal Nashville, I'm probably somebody who's actively searching for a provider. So in that case, you would want to maybe launch the ads and then look at the cost per click differential here. So once you're running ads, I'm getting a little into the weeds, but I think this is at least a good tidbit of knowledge. Don't get caught up on it. Let's say, for example, since we know the intent is probably going to be lower on if somebody types in laser hair removal versus laser hair removal Nashville, we'd be willing to pay more for the Nashville click. So as long as we're paying less for the laser hair removal click and we can look at our conversion data over a period of time, it might be a good idea to leave that in there. But near me would be a great one. So I'll get to that in a second, but we're just going to go through and we're going to kind of trim this list. Another brand search. Laser hair removal on face. Let's make sure that that's something we offer if we're going to bid on it. I don't like when we incorporate costs because to me, this is people in a research phase. I want people that just want the service. They want to go to a reputable provider. They're not just researching at how much something costs. They haven't necessarily made the decision to get that service. Unless the cost per click is really cheap, we'll remove that too. And you go through this one by one and just fine tune it. So go through these, make sure that it's bottom of the funnel, people that are actively searching for your service in your area. There's no ambiguity. It's not that you thought they might mean something else if they're searching for this service. Really the bottom of the funnel things that are really going to be highly likely to lead to a lead capture or a client. So we'll go through those. We're going to leave these all in broad match for now by default. So this is the danger of Google Ads. By setting these up here, we're setting these up in broad match types, which means Google can take a ton of leeway with what they actually show our ad for if they think something might be related. Great example of this. I had a client that was doing an ad just like this for laser hair, and we used phrase match, which is the middle match type, which I'll get to in a second, which has quotes around it. And that's supposed to tell Google, don't interpret this too broadly. I want you to only show my ad for close variations of this phrase or variations of this phrase with other words before and after. Even with that match type, Google showed our ad for Brazilian waxing. That was one of the things we had the most clicks on in the first 48 hours. So I'll get to the match types in a second, but just make sure this list looks good, makes sense, and then add variations. Like this has laser hair removal Nashville. East Nashville is like a part of town that's just a lot of people live in East Nashville. Okay, so I want to make sure that East Nashville is there. I want to make sure that it's laser hair removal in Brentwood, the area that's just south of town. Laser hair removal, Gulch, Nashville. Like any areas of town that you can incorporate in there, duplicate those and add those variations to your keyword list. And then we're going to click apply after we've gone through the list. That's not, our job's not done there on the keyword front, and I'll get to why in a second and what we want to do next. But we're going to apply that keyword list. We're going to paste our URL in here. So again, I'm going to build these out as if I'm doing these for this Milan laser as the example. I'm not sharing anything proprietary by doing this, just taking what's publicly available online as the example list. All right, now we want to think really strategically. So this little score thing right here, it says ad strength. I have conflicting information on this, and if I ever have this a definitive answer on this, I will update this series for the 2025 training. But I'll tell you how we do this internally right now. So there's something called quality score, which is how closely your ads resonate with the audience that's searching a specific keyword in your keyword pool. That is actually a component of your bid. If you have high quality scores, meaning a lot of people that are performing the search are finding your ad valuable, you're going to pay less per click. Bad quality scores means you're going to pay more per click because Google's trying to only show results that are relevant to the user. So this is why, for example, I can't try to arbitrage this. Like, let me think of a clever example. Let's say I'm like a mortgage broker doing refinances, but it's really expensive for me to bid on people doing refinances, and I just want my ad to show up for homeowners. Well, somebody that might have that might own a home, they might search for something like AC repair. right? And if I see AC repairs really, really cheap, I'll run my mortgage ads on keywords for AC repair. That's kind of how Google Ads worked in its origin. People would try to arbitrage where the cheaper clicks were, where they could still reach the same audience and show ads. And then you're kind of doing something similar to what you do on Facebook and Instagram. So that's where quality score comes in. Your ads have to be a good match for the searches that you're trying to capture. So this little ad strength grade, I don't believe is actually indicative of quality score. It's more of just a prompt. But the Google reps that I talked to on our update calls with Google reps, they've told us that it is a part of quality score. Agencies have done independent research to say this isn't a part of quality score. I'll tell you what we do just to kind of try to balance the priority list here, the trade-off. We just try to get this to at least average, but we want to maintain some control. So in this case, we're doing this 50% off limited time promo. I really want to make sure one of my two headlines says 50% off. 50% off for a limited time. And I'll write a couple variations of that, right? 50% off laser hair removal. And you have to fit it in 30 characters. And then I'm going to write, let's see if I can find something that's, so it is permanent. So we'll get to that in a second. Number one provider in US. I don't know if it'll let me capitalize US. That might give me an error. Maybe the business name, right? Let's incorporate some branding. Milan Laser Hair. Milan Laser Hair Removal. Okay. Now let's talk about, so we've got who we are, maybe why you should trust us a little bit. We've got the promo language. And now let's try to incorporate some extra little wrinkles and touch points. Lifetime guarantee. That's a great one. You're trying to think of the bullet points here that'll really be attractive to a potential prospect. 50% off, top-rated provider, lifetime guarantee. Those three things are great, right? So there's a part of me that just wants to pin those as the headlines. But one of the things I like to do is, as we're building these headlines, come up with some synonymous terms. So I'm going to think of one more thing that's kind of like the lifetime guarantee. Let's just say it's 95. I don't know what the language is around claims for the specific thing, so I don't want to say that. But maybe I'll just say, check out our reviews. Just kind of trying to point people in the direction to understand that we're a really reputable provider. So I'd keep going until I got this ad score somewhat reasonable. And then I'm going to start pinning headlines. What do I think makes the most sense to show up in the first position? Maybe it's the business name or this number one provider in the US. Those are the things that you can change. Google, I'll let you do what you want with the first headline if it's one of these options. I really like doing that a lot. And then we really want the promo. So let's say we pin these in like position 2, for example, as like options. Right? And then let's say we only put these in position 3. You can do that, or you can leave it be. But when you leave it be, sometimes these combinations can look a little funky, because if you're putting synonymous things in the headline space, Google might show like the 50% off limited time and the 50% off laser hair removal back to back in the headline. And that just looks terrible to me. So you want to look at these previews, make sure that you're checking the boxes here in terms of trying to attract the click. People are seeing other ads for other offers in their feed. What can you do to make your listing the most attractive thing people are seeing in their news feed so that they click your listing and give you a chance in terms of the next step? Now in the descriptions, we really want to just talk it up more, get people excited. So let's talk about those key selling points. Really focus on key selling points. US top provider in all of US, rated 4.9 stars. I'm not going to say on Google because you can't say Google. Rated 4.9 stars. Lifetime guarantee on permanent hair removal. I think that's an example of a great description that's going to attract the user. Top provider in all of US, rated 4.9 stars, lifetime guarantee on permanent laser hair removal. We are just checking one box after the other in terms of potential objections. Is this a reputable provider? Will this work? Is it permanent, right? We've checked all of those potential objections. So just think about the things that your prospects are thinking of when they're making a purchase decision. Try to overcome those objections, and then use those headlines to really make sure that your offer and your ad are standing out to attract the click. So that's kind of the basic formula that we're using for building the headlines and the descriptions. Make sure that you add your business name here for sure. Like fill out the logo information, add your branding so that it's not just that general link. It actually shows up with the logo and the business name. Add images. We don't generally add site links, which is unfortunate because we really just want people that are coming for this specific promo to this page. We're going to direct people to an offer specific landing page. So for that reason, we don't use site links in most of our ads. So I want to make sure that we're using every other extension type we have available. Look at callouts, add any bells and whistles. You can see examples of what callouts might be. You can pretty much get away with whatever you want to in there, in my experience. So put that anything in there that might add additional context. Promotions, you want to put the special again. So the 50% off, add that as a promotion extension. You can also add that as a price. Add the phone number for phone calls. Structured snippet will show like neighborhoods that you serve or specific. If you got like the specific type of laser that you use, you can maybe add that as the structured snippet. Feel free to explore with lead forms. We generally are just capturing them on the landing page, but feel free to explore that. And then that's going to be pretty much it for building the ad. But I think that's going to be a massive help. Now we're going to go back to one other thing, which is going to be our keyword list. So now that we're through our keyword list, I want to explain match types, how important match types are, kind of just to wrap this video up on the initial ads build. So let me just change gears actually and show you this. So I mentioned that these are all going to be broad match keywords by default. When you go back to when you're building your keyword list, you have 3 different options for match types. And I recommend reading through this resource, Google Ads match types. It'll show you examples of how each of the match types work. So broad match is the most loose. Google can really take, they're giving the example. Let's look at the example they give for broad match. You're saying low carb diet, and then they could show your ad for how to cut carbs for beginners or Mediterranean diet books. I mean, I think they're being generous to themselves with the interpretations here. I can tell you they go a lot looser than that, a lot too often, far too often. Phrase match, like I mentioned, is going to be closer to the intent of your original keyword set that you put in there. So that's where you put quotes around your keyword. So I would put in each one of these, I would put the quote symbol around here. And that's restricting Google somewhat to very close versions of that phrase or that phrase with other words before and after. And then really the safest bet is to use exact match targeting, which is brackets around your keywords. So the way that I tend to do this is I want to think of every variation. So like I said, the laser hair removal in Nashville, laser hair removal, East Nashville, best laser hair. Think of any variation you could possibly think of in terms of a search and just make a larger list of exact match keywords with these brackets. That's generally the way I like to go. If you do use phrase match, pay attention to the end of this training because we'll go through optimization. That's going to be really important if you use phrase match targeting. It's definitely broad match, but also phrase match to managing those ongoing so that you're not wasting money on ad spend. Remember, Google is a cost per click model. You're only spending money when somebody actively clicks your ads. For that reason, we really want to allocate our ad spend to bottom of the funnel, highly qualified searches that are most likely to lead to a new prospect turning into a customer. So then from there, you'll set your budget. So set your budget. It'll give you more data as you're starting to plan. But I reverse engineer looking back at my ROI calculations video, what you're trying to accomplish here, and looking at the cost per click numbers. If you want me to throw out a really rough ballpark, I would say start at a minimum of $20 a day, up to I don't know, maybe like $100 a day on most of these campaigns max. So that's probably a good range. $20 to $100 on most of these campaigns on a daily basis will set you up for success. And again, reverse engineer the numbers. Once you start running campaigns, you'll get data to understand how much it costs to get a lead, how much it costs to convert a lead, and what you can extract out of a Google Ads campaign ongoing. So that's just the part I wanted to share here, the screen share version of the presentation where we show you actually how to build the ads. Now let's go back to the slide deck. All right, so we've talked about how to set yourself up for success with Google Ads, understanding how to stand apart in a competitive landscape, how to actually build your ads, your ad copy, your keyword list, the pros and cons, the trade-off, how to select your audience targeting, all of those things, how to build a conversion-focused landing page. Then the last thing we're going to want to do here is make sure that you're tracking conversions. So if you go to tools and settings at the top right of your Google Ads dashboard, you'll see an option to set up conversion tracking. Easiest way to do this, if you're doing this on your own, is just to go to Upwork or one of the sites where Fiverr, somewhere where you can hire a freelancer, explain to them what you want to track, give them access to your account, and they can set up the conversion tracking codes for you if that feels too complicated. I'm not super technical in that area with like back end stuff on the website. So even for us, sometimes we do the basic stuff if there's like lead form captures, but for more advanced conversion tracking, we go to Upwork, and that's the one time we'll use like outside contractors to help us connect the dots on some things. But it is really important to make sure that you're tracking in order to optimize these campaigns. So if you have uncertainty with what these campaigns are doing for you, you're never going to be confident in the investment. You need to know for every $1,000 I spend on this laser hair removal ad, I get, I don't know, 30 leads and 10 of those turn into new patients. So I'm getting 10 new patients for every $1,000 I'm spending on these ads. $100 cost of a customer acquisition, phenomenal result, right? You need to know those numbers so that you can be confident in the marketing investment, and conversion tracking is a key component to doing that. Um, Ongoing optimization. So once your campaigns are up and running, here's some different things that you can test or keep an eye on in terms of managing these efforts. So different headlines. Start playing around with different headline groups, different pinnings. Create different ads with different descriptions to see which ones work best. When you look in your ads dashboard, when you have conversion tracking set up, you will see the attribution. Hey, this version of my ad tends to get a better conversion rate or a better click-through rate or a lower cost of customer acquisition. So just like we do with Facebook and Instagram ads, you want to test those on occasion. Put your best foot forward, but don't be afraid to tweak and test things to see if there's something else that might work better. Test your landing page elements, the headlines that you're using on the landing page, the graphics that you're using, color scheme, call to action verbiage. So in that example I just showed you with the the call to action being schedule the consult, it might be a good idea to test doing the virtual coupon download as the option, right? In order to access this offer, first download the coupon voucher, then you'll be directed to instructions for scheduling your free consult. Test different call to actions. With a tool like Landingy or other landing page builders, you can actually build those tests into the feature with what we call A/B testing. So those are really neat. Also, test your offer. If you notice you're running this promo for laser hair removal and it's not really attracting clients, and you see other people in the feed that maybe have a more attractive, more enticing offer, you might need to work on your offer. If you notice you're actually getting too many people in the door, or the people that are coming through the door are getting too much of a discount, and you think you could get people at a higher ticket price, you might want to take the foot off the gas in terms of aggressiveness of the offer, see if you can win on reputation. But always be willing to test the offer. All of these little things are going to impact improvement. And then the last thing in terms of day-to-day or week-to-week management of your ads, this is the one thing above all else that it's really important to monitor and manage, especially when you're using broad or phrase match types on your keywords. And this is called your search terms report. So I always say this is one of the places I look first when I'm doing an ads audit for somebody. If things are going really sideways, this is where we'll usually identify issues. So when you go to your dashboard, you'll see on the left side under insights and reports, you'll see something called search terms. And this is actually going to show you each query somebody typed in before seeing or clicking on your ad. And this is where you can really find waste in your ads budget. This is where, for example, we did the laser hair removal ad in phrase match, and we noticed that Google was showing our ad for Brazilian waxing. And when you go through this, at least on a weekly basis, I would say, you want to comb through and click the little checkbox and start removing the keywords, which are what we call negative keywords that aren't a good fit, that you don't want to spend money on again. There's help articles on Google on understanding negative match types, because there are match types with broad, phrase, and exact, on how you're excluding those things from your ad showing for the future. So by default, if it's just exact match, it's only going to not show your ad for that exact phrase. But let's say that phrase included Groupon, and it's really anybody searching for Groupon that I don't want to show up for. Well, then I might select that, but then just change it to the word Groupon as a broad match or phrase match keyword to exclude my ad from ever showing again for somebody that includes Groupon in their search. But this is where the details matter. Pay attention to your search terms report. Use negative keywords to refine this over time. After a few weeks or a few months at least, you should have a really refined list where you're only paying for people that are bottom of the funnel, highly likely to turn into prospects. Eliminate that waste from your budget, and that'll improve your cost of customer acquisition and the return on investment from your ad spend. So that was my Google ad training for 2024. I hope you found that helpful. I tried to really walk you through this step by step in terms of the way that we think about building campaigns and just the actual structure and infrastructure that goes into building these on the back end of the Google Ads dashboard. If you're a practice owner or marketing manager for a practice and you're watching this, you've watched our other videos in the series, I'm giving away all these strategies for free, but I understand there's a lot of nuance to a lot of this stuff. Devil's in the details. All of the dotting your I's and crossing your T's can really make a major difference in terms of the impact these advertising programs have on your business. So if you're looking for a new provider, we'd love to explore working together. You can schedule a call with me via the link below this video.